Hey, everybody. Welcome once again to the Dino and Dino Youngstown Studio podcast show on a Saturday, March 14th at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 o'clock Pacific Time. And our next special guest for this week is the legendary voice actor Bob Bergen.
Hello, Bob.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Yes, welcome to Youngstown, Ohio.
Thank you.
On a sunny day, but a little chilly here. It's March.
You know what? You get that when you live in Ohio. I used to live in Cincinnati, so I know what winters are like.
Oh, okay. Cincinnati. Okay? We'll talk about that a little bit too. But we want to tell you a little bit about ourselves. You became friends with Dino on Facebook over the years,
right?
And what we do is we have an internet radio show. It's called Golden String Radio. It's an internet radio show that's run by adults with disabilities, and we've been there for about 15
years.
15 years.
Wow, good for you.
But we were lucky. Right down the road from us here is this beautiful studio called Youngstown Studio. They do podcast shows here, and they were gracious enough to let us do some podcast shows because Dino has met over the years voice actors, directors, and we've been able to bring them on the show. We've had Randy Rogel, Rob Paulson, the director from Runaway Brain. What was his name?
Chris Bailey.
Chris Bailey. And now we have Bob Bergen on. So we're glad to have you on because Dino's loved animation
a long time ago.
A long time, and we've been to conventions and met a lot of the famous people. So
awesome.
we want to welcome you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Okay, so we know that Bob has been in the business now for so many years now, but most famously, the voice of Porky Pig, Tweety Bird, and Marvin the Martian. That's correct, Bob?
That amongst others, but that's the stuff people remember.
And I love your background there with those faces. Is that your office there, or what is that?
This is my office. This is my home studio, and those are life masks of celebrities and artists whom I admire. And I think Dad Dino is probably old enough to recognize them. I don't think little Dino is.
Yeah, I'll have to go I'll get a little bit closer, and I'm going to check some of those guys out. But let's talk about. You said Cincinnati. Where did you grow up? Where were you born?
I was actually born in St. Louis, and when I was 8, my dad moved the family to Cincinnati, an area called Wyoming. And when I was 14. He moved us to LA, which is great because that's where I wanted to be because I wanted to do what I do since I was a little kid. So, when you're a teenager and your parents sit you down and say, we're moving, most kids get depressed because they don't want to leave their friends. And my friends were cartoon characters. So I wanted to be in LA where cartoons were made.
Well, speaking of the cartoons, like when you were a kid, like, I think me and you were kind of like the same age growing up watching the cloud. What were some of your favorite cartoons as a kid when you remember those cartoon days?
Certainly Looney Tunes. I was a huge fan of Popeye, but the classic Popeyes, like the black and white Fleischer Popeyes. I wasn't too crazy about the 1960s limited animation Popeyes, even though a lot of the same people who produced the original Fleischer Popeyes did the really lousy 1960 ones, but it was budgetary. That's why they were, to me, they weren't as good. I love Speed Racer. I love Rocky and Bullwinkle. I was probably about 5 or 6 when the original Scooby-Doo Where Are You debuted.
Yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was just glued to Saturday morning cartoons, and it was years before anything like a Cartoon Network where there were 24/7 cartoons or streaming. So
yeah, you probably remember getting up on Saturday morning. You get your box of cereal, right?
Yeah.
Your favorite cereal
before parents woke up.
Yeah, you
had just sitting cereal there injuring the inside of my mouth with Captain Crunch.
Yeah. And you would read the cereal box.
Right. And sometimes you got gifts. You got if you sent away and had a box top, you'd get something cool back.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, those were the good old days.
Good old days.
Good old days,
right?
Yeah. The good old days.
So where'd you go to high school at?
I went to Taft High School in Woodland Hills, California.
Woodland Hills. That's
where my aunt lives.
That's where we
got. That's why I was able to get that sign.
Yeah, Woodland Hills.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
she may be listening.
Hi, how are you?
Catherine.
Hi.
But so when did you realize, hey, I'm watching these cartoons, and like me, when I watched you never realized there was somebody drawing them, somebody voicing them, somebody writing the script. You just thought these were just on TV, right? Is that what you thought too?
Kind of. But I was very, very, very young when I said to my parents, I think there's one guy doing every Looney Tune voice. I can hear a common denominator in the sound. And my mom said, yeah, that's a guy named Mel Blanc. And he
Yeah.
did almost all of them. And I don't know, you know what, if you're going to be a voice actor, and if you're going to be a successful voice actor, you kind of need to have, what do you call it? A good ear. You know, you got to be able to hear certain things. You got to be able to find voices and characters again and again and again. I could tell that, oh, there's one guy doing these voices, but I could tell the same thing from Dawes Butler. I could tell the same thing from Don Messick. I could tell the same thing from June Foray. So I think that's an asset to those of us who work in animation voiceover, is having that good ear.
So getting you out to California was your in the door to get into this business. Is that what happened? Were you at school? Were you in the plays? Did you like?
Oh yeah. But I mean, but the thing is, I would have gotten myself out here, but my dad did that for me. So, and he didn't come out here for me. He came out here because he got a job.
Right.
So, yeah, but I can guarantee at 18, I would have made my way out to Los Angeles and just have been one of the many starving actors living in, lousy housing with 20 people trying to be an actor.
So you graduate high school, you're in California, and then you decide, hey, I want to get into is that what I want to be in this business, this voice business?
No, I took my first voiceover class a week after moving here. I called Mel Blanc. I found his number in the phone book.
What?
Yeah. And
I recorded.
Well, what happened was I looked in the phone book and
I said Blanc. Mel, is that what it said?
And I couldn't find it. And my dad was like trying to explain to me that, LA is bigger than Cincinnati. So he just kind of traveled there. You used to be able to get a white page phone book from the post office. And he traveled from like Malibu to Pasadena and just went to post offices. And I had a 5-foot high stack of phone books. And I figured, he's got to be in one of these. And I found his number under his wife's name, which was Estelle, and got him on the phone, asked him advice. I recorded the conversation.
Wait a minute, Bob. He answered the phone?
Well, no, his wife answered the phone first.
His wife answered.
Yeah, and she said he's out. And I was like, when is he going to be back? Later this afternoon. So I just kept calling back until I got him.
She didn't say, hey, who is this? She wasn't like. She was very nice. And so now he said, how did you get my number? Right. Okay.
And I told him the whole story.
Okay.
And during the course of the conversation, he had mentioned, I'd asked him if he was still doing Looney Tunes. And he said, not the cartoons, but occasional commercials, toys. And he mentioned that he was recording the soundtrack for a live stage show, like an arena show.
Okay.
And he mentioned the name of the studio and that he was doing it the following week, but he didn't say the day or the time. So when I hung up from him, I called the studio, pretending to be his assistant.
Wow.
Ooh.
And I said, hi, I'm calling to confirm Mel Blanc's appointment. I just made up a day and time, Thursday at 9. And they said, well, we've got him on the books for Wednesday at 11. I went, that's right. I'm looking at the wrong calendar. Sorry. And I told my mom, I'm going to skip school on Wednesday and you're going to take me to watch Mel Blanc work. And she said, cool. So when we got to the studio that Wednesday, I told the receptionist that we were guests of Mel Blanc and he invited us. And so she said,
wow,
he's in that booth over there. And I went to that booth over there. And I told his producer that we were really good friends with the receptionist, and she invited us to watch, and that's how I watched him work.
Wow.
And after that, I called Hanna-Barbera. I said, "What do I do? How do I get into this business?" And they referred me to Dawes Butler, And I ended up studying voiceover with, oh my goodness, every voiceover teacher that LA had to offer. I studied acting for 2 years, improv for 3 years. I got my first job an agent a week out of high school. And then I had 5 years of day and night survival jobs as I was building up my career to get to the point where I could work as a full-time actor. But it took, I would say, from first class to working actor was about a 9-year journey.
Is this the same period you worked at the Growlings? The Growlings?
I studied at the Groundlings. I didn't work there, but
okay.
I took improv at the Groundlings. Yeah.
Did you meet who were some of the people that you met there that became kind of famous through the Growlings? There were a lot of people came.
Well, Mindy Sterling, who's a very successful theatrical actress. Here's the deal: it was so long ago that I don't remember. Yeah, no, because they weren't famous then.
You didn't like John Candy work there? John Candy?
John Candy, I don't think ever did the Groundlings. He did Second City. He did Second City, and he did Second City out of Canada.
Okay.
But the Groundlings had Kathy Griffin and oh gosh, Sherry O'Terry and Will Ferrell. I don't remember if they were there at the time. I don't think they were.
How about Deanna Oliver from Animaniacs?
Maybe. I don't remember. I don't remember because they weren't famous back then, and I didn't care about fame, and I didn't keep track of anybody else's. I was there for education. I wasn't there to even be a member of the Groundlings. I was there to learn. Prof, so I could apply it to my
fast forward to your so you're studying your first job. What was your first job in voiceover?
It was a cartoon for NBC called Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
And what year was this?
I recorded it in '82. It came out in '83, I think.
Okay, so
what character did you play in that?
I played a character, a teenager from outer space. It's a fascinating character.
Wow.
No, it's not it's not that big a deal in the character, but in the storyline, this kid and his sister from outer space crash land on Earth, and something in the Earth's environment attacks his immune system. And he starts to his organs start to fail. And I remember at the recording session, I said, you guys, this sounds like that thing called AIDS, that new disease that just hit the news. And it was identical, but other than the fact we don't know this character's sexuality, but he got it from the Earth's environment. So it was kind of it wasn't written to reflect that. It just happened to be a coincidence.
Good.
And by the way, if you go to YouTube
and
you Google Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, Spidey Meets a Girl from Tomorrow, I think is the name of the episode, you can hear the entire recording session because somebody for some reason had it and posted it on YouTube a few years ago. I'm terrible. My acting is atrocious. I would not have hired me, but I'm glad somebody did.
So awesome. This is 1982, right?
We recorded it, I think, in '82. I think, and it aired in '83. I think.
Okay, because I didn't watch that one. I wasn't even born.
Yeah.
Yet.
Okay.
Oh, that's
but between 80 and 90. Okay, 90 is when you went to Warner Brothers. Is that right? In the 1990s?
90 was with the first year that Warner's hired me to do a Porky Pig gig. Mel Blanc died in '89, so he was a little busy until then. So, that was Tiny Toons.
So between 80 and 90, what were some of the
stuff I did?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. My first movie was called Gremlins. I think I did that in 83-ish, 84.
Okay, that was Steven Spielberg's Gremlins, right?
Yeah, Steven Spielberg.
That movie. Yeah, that movie.
What's he been up to?
I don't know. You don't hear his name anymore. My fingers are crossed. He does something successful.
Yeah, I hope he's successful. That guy. Yeah. I don't know. I hope he. Anyway, so Gremlins. That was
Gremlins. I did the animated Fraggle Rock.
Fraggle Rock. That's the animated series.
Yep, I did. I did a cartoon called Little Muppet Monsters before that, which was the second half hour of Muppet Babies for one season. It was basically the animated version of the Muppet Show. I did all kinds of things. I did a lot of voice work on films, and they call it specialty voices. Doing creature sounds, and if you look at a movie and it says additional voices, you might see my name in a lot of films.
Awesome.
What's that?
Awesome.
Oh, thank you. I revoice a lot of actors in films. Sometimes the director didn't like their voice. Sometimes the actor wasn't available to do some sweetening. But here's the deal, you guys. When I go to fan conventions, fans know my work more than I do. I don't remember what
Oh, okay.
I don't. So, and I tell people, they're like, why don't you remember this? I'm like, look at it this way. If you're a builder, you might remember building a house, but you don't remember every shingle on the roof, every window. You don't remember every permit. You just remember the finished product. So somebody might say, you remember this job so-and-so? Oh, I remember the job. I just don't remember anything about it. So, and it's not arrogance. It's just when you do a job, you're on to the next one. I also don't watch most of my work. So I've not seen probably 90% of the stuff I've done. So I don't have any recollection.
Yeah.
What about June Foray? You became friends with June Foray?
Yeah. Well, I met June about the same time I moved to LA. ASIFA, which is an animation society, annually did a show at a mall not too far. In fact, it's a mall that's currently being demolished. It's all sad. But ASIFA would sell animation cells, and they did a live reading of a Rocky and Bullwinkle script with June and Bill Scott. Neil Ross was the narrator, and I went, and that's where I met Dawes Butler. He was also in the show, and I met June that day and found out we were neighbors, and we became really good pals. And she knew I wanted to do what I want to do, what I do, and she happened to be at my Tiny Toons session, my first Tiny Toons session, sitting next.
Awesome.
So I was doing Tweety to her granny, which was pretty surreal.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
In fact, I saw that there was a picture of you and Maurice LaMarche and June Foray together at the Annie Awards or something.
Probably.
Yeah.
Or somewhere. Yeah. I mean, we are, or I know that voice, or it could have been a fan convention. I don't know. I'll tell you a funny story about June. There was a voiceover convention. Yeah, June was getting up there. It was well before she passed away, but they were honoring her at this convention, and I was her date. It was in Anaheim, so I drove from Woodland Hills to Anaheim, which is a good long drive, but gives you a vodka tonic, and she was happy for the night. And they showed a compilation reel of her career. So a lot of people don't know this, but Bea Benaderet created the voice of Granny in the Looney Tunes cartoons, and June Foray took over for her. Same with Witch Hazel. They shared both Witch Hazel and Granny.
Yeah, the Disney version and the Looney Tunes version.
Right, but Bea Benaderet had done the Looney Tunes version before June did.
Yeah.
Well, they showed this compilation. I'm sitting next to little June, and June was like 3'0", and I'm sitting next to her, and they show the clip. Every clip they're showing is Bea Benaderet, not June. And June has her hand on my thigh, and it's starting to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. And that little hand with the arthritis and everything was cutting off my circulation. I said, what's going on? She goes, that's not me, that's Bea. And I went, oh, but they don't know that because only Mel Blanc got screen credit. They didn't give Bea Benaderet or June Foray any screen credit, or Arthur Q. Bryan, who was Elmer Fudd. And June was fuming. And at the end of the clip, they were going to say, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome June Foray. And I said, June, keep your mouth shut. They don't know what they did. And she goes, like hell I will. And I'm like, and I'm walking around stage. I'm like, oh, this is not going to go well. From table to stage with a standing ovation, she had forgotten about it, and she was fine. She said nothing. But I was a mess. I was a sweat floppy mess, and it went over terrific. But what's that?
Was Bea Benaderet still alive at that time?
No, Bea Benaderet died in the 60s.
Yeah, she was the voice of in the Flintstones. She was
Betty Rubble, but she died during the original run.
And then she was on Petticoat Junction.
Correct.
Remember? Yeah,
and she died during that run and was replaced by June Lockhart, I believe.
June Lockhart.
Lockhart. Yeah, I know who June Lockhart is.
Yeah, but yeah, little June was was not very happy that day, but it
Okay.
turned out quite well. I will take the combination of the love from the room
Uh-huh.
and the vodka tonic.
Good. Well, that's a good
Yeah.
story, right there.
And June Foray created the Annie Awards, right?
She did, because at that time there was no recognition really for animation. June was on the board of governors at the Motion Picture Academy. In fact, I believe she either has a nomination or won an Oscar for animated short as a producer. I don't know. I don't know if she won. I've been to her house many times. I never saw an Oscar, but I may be wrong. But she really wanted recognition for animation. She put it together. I think the first one was either in her backyard or at the Sportsman's Lodge in Studio City. And it has become
Yeah.
the Oscars for animation,
Yes.
even though the Oscars recognize animation for Best Animated Feature now. But yeah, the Annie Awards, it's her baby.
Yes. I didn't know that, Dino.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
yeah. June Foray,
created
she
that?
created the Annie
Wow.
Awards.
Yeah.
Speaking of nominations, you've been nominated 4 times. For
5.
5? Okay. Could you tell us the ones
that you may win or may not win?
No, the ones he was
Oh, I
nominated.
ain't gonna win because they're over. I lost all 5.
I know, but we'd like to know the names of the ones you were nominated.
They were just random episodes of different things I did as Porky Pig. I don't remember. I think Looney Tunes cartoons. I think the Looney Tunes show.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that show.
I think New Looney Tunes. The last 3 series that I did as Porky, I was nominated for Emmys.
All right, let's talk about Porky. How you got into Warner Brothers? How did you transfer from doing like into Warner Brothers? How did
Well, I
that
didn't transfer anything. I continued to do everything else. I just had an audition. Like
okay,
everything
no,
else.
that's what I mean. The audition. How did you get over to Warner Brothers?
From an agent. My agent said Mel Blanc died and they're holding auditions. So I, like everybody else, I just auditioned. And those of us that do classic characters, those of us that do any character, unless we own the character, we don't have a lifetime contract. So every time you work, you sign a brand new contract as if you've never done it before. It's negotiated separately. So Tiny Toons, auditioned, got it.
Do you remember the day when was there one person there, or was a group? Was a table of people, or what? How was it?
For the audition?
Yeah, for Porky. How did that?
It was so back then. You auditioned in your agent's office. Your agent had a voiceover studio, and it's just you and the engineer, whoever the agent hired to push buttons. And I auditioned for Porky and Tweety, and then I had a call back with Andrea Romano for Porky and Tweety, and then I ended up booking it. So that was the first one I had done.
Do you remember how you portrayed Porky? What you said?
I remember the audition.
Yeah. Do you remember what you said, like the words, or how?
Yeah, I think the audition was something like,
Hey, gosh, Sylvester, isn't this the lovely airplane? I've always wanted to fly the Boeing 747.
Okay, that's it. Thanks, folks. That was it.
there you go.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
So and then you did that, and then
Yeah.
you get a call back, right? Is that how that worked?
Got a call back, audition for Andrea Romano, who was casting and voice directing. And then, like I said, my first session, I was sitting next to June Foray, along with the brilliant Jeff Bergman, who was doing Bugs and Daffy. And I think Candy Milo was there. I know that Don Messick was there doing Hampton. I think Cree Summer was there. I think Tress McNeil was there.
Well, yeah,
Wow.
all the great voice actors.
These are all people Dino knows from Facebook. All these
Yeah.
people you've been mentioning. Yeah.
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 Charlie Adler was there doing Buster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was great. It was surreal. I met Maurice LaMarche at that session.
Maurice LaMarche, he's a good guy.
They're great. These are all really nice people.
They
And
are.
for anybody watching this who wants to go into VO, nice goes a long way, and you're going to find the majority of my generation of VO are respectful and nice. And if you pop a note on social media, they'll probably respond. It was a very, very different time. It was a very different generation. We saw each other more often because now I record. In fact, I'll show you if you're interested. That's my studio right there. That's my home studio.
Look at that.
All those yellow things right there on the table. It's hard to do this backwards by my computer. I'm in the process of writing a memoir, and those are all little notes that pop into my head that I got to write about. So
I see Barbara Eden's genie. Is that her genie bottle?
that's not her genie bottle. That's just a genie
Replica.
bottle.
It's a replica.
It's a so the I Dream of Genie bottles back in the 60s were actually Jim Beam whiskey bottles from 1964.
Really?
And that's a Jim Beam whiskey bottle from 1964. And I was able to track down the guy that actually was the art director on I Dream of Genie, and he painted that for me.
Oh, look at that.
That's very nice.
Which has nothing to do with my career with Porky Pig. I just think
I know. I just saw it back there, but I'm going to take a little bit closer to see if I can identify some of those face masks.
All right, I'll point to them. You recognize that guy?
I got to get a little bit closer. Hold on.
Okay, hold on, Dad. Hold on.
All right,
Okay, be careful, Dad.
By the way, I just got 2 more.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I just got 2 more. I'll be adding to the collection.
Okay, let's see what Dad can see.
All right, so Dad, can you see that right there?
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Okay, that's Anthony Hopkins.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
That's an easy one.
Okay, that's Alfred Hitchcock.
Very good. That should be an easy one. By the way, this is hard to do backwards.
Yes. Okay. I don't know him. I'm sorry.
So that's Jack Nicholson.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's Vincent Price.
Okay.
That's Buster Keaton.
Buster. Okay. I thought
Okay.
that was Peter Lorre. Okay.
That's Marlon Brando.
Oh, Marlon Brando. Okay.
That's James Cagney.
Okay.
That's Boris Karloff.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the Grinch.
Bob Hope.
Oh,
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. Okay, I know that one. George C. Scott. Is that George C. Scott?
No, that's not. This one right here?
Yeah.
No, that's
The one at the top there.
that's Paul McCartney, and that's Ringo Starr.
How did I miss those guys?
And then across the way, I've got James Dean and Katharine Hepburn.
James Dean, where is he at?
He's on the other side of the room, but I don't know how to turn the camera.
That's my buddy, James Dean. Hey, is it okay if we've got some people listening?
Sure.
If they have questions, we could bring those up in a little bit.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's see if we have any questions here now. Let's
see.
Oh, Cassandra, our friend Cassandra.
Hi, Cassandra.
She's from Riverside.
She says, "Hi, Bob. I have a question for you. Whichever was to do besides Porky Pig."
Is that like what I love, like favorite characters besides Porky Pig?
I think that's what she meant.
Okay. You know, a lot of things I have done that were favorite jobs were either not seen or not huge. I was the voice of the McDonald's French fries for the Happy Meal spots.
Ooh,
for like 15 years. And it was fun because I was working with Hal Smith. Hal Smith was Otis the Drunk on the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, he played Piglet too. Did he do Piglet?
No, he did Owl.
No, he wasn't. He was
Owl.
He was one of the voices of Owl. He was also Winnie the Pooh before Jim Cummings popped in.
In fact, Jim Cummings worked with him a couple times.
Sure he did. I think he was either the hamburger or the shake. I forget which, or the soft drink. But we did that for about 15 years, and it was just a really fun. I would do 1 or 2 spots a month. I did a movie called The Emperor's New Groove where I played a squirrel, which was one of my favorite little parts that wasn't that big a deal, but it was fun to do. Yeah, you know what? When you're an actor, it's just fun to act. You know, every day is a new adventure, and it never gets boring.
Okay, we have a question from Laura Shank. She's from Florida.
Hi, Laura.
Right here. This one right here.
Yeah.
She says, my personal favorite character of Bob's is Wembley from Fraggle Rock.
Well, Laura has good taste.
That's Fraggle Rock.
I love it.
On Fraggle Rock is where I met Rob Paulson and Townsend Coleman and Barbara Goodson and Mona Marshall and Pat Penny and Patty Paris and the great John Stevenson. John Stevenson was the voice of Mr. Slate on the Flintstones, and he played Doc on Fraggle Rock. And you never saw Doc's face; you only saw him from the knees down, walking past. And Stevenson, during a break, I would always say to him, "Would you fire Fred?" And he'd go, "Flintstone, you're fired."
Remember that, Dave?
Yeah, I remember that.
It just made me giddy.
We have some friends, international friends. We have Christina and her
Sister
sister
Louise.
They're listening from Ireland.
Okay.
This is their big weekend, St. Patrick's Day.
It is indeed.
Yeah, and then we have our friend Melina from Russia. She's listening. And matter of fact, she's got something for you, Rob or Bob.
You mean Bob?
Bob, she drew this of you.
Holy cow, that's pretty amazing.
Let me get it a little bit closer here.
No, I see it fine. I got to tell you, thank you for drawing me so young. That's a very old headshot. That's great. Thank you.
This came from Russia.
Wow.
And,
With love.
From Russia with love, right?
That's right, buddy.
And we're going to see if we can get it to you. If that's
Awesome. Thank you. I
mail it
appreciate
out
that.
to you. This is from Melina. And,
Oh, Melina, you rock. Thank you so much.
a very great artist, and she's a fan of animation too. And it's funny, these people in other countries, animation brings people together.
Sure.
With with the stories and the characters. You've probably met at conventions. You've probably met a lot of people from different cultures and things. Is that true?
Of course. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's before the fan conventions, actually before social media, we didn't know if anybody knew who anybody was. Well, they probably didn't. And I remember my first time at San Diego Comic-Con, it was 1990-ish. And I'm walking through the exhibit hall and people are watching me. And I'm like, is my fly open? I mean, what is the point of why is ever? Because they knew me. And we weren't used to being recognized. It was actually one of the things I liked about voiceover is you could be a working actor, but you could be anonymous and have a private life. And then you go to Comic-Con and people dress as your characters and they follow you into the restroom and they're actually happy to meet you. And they know more about our career than when I did a panel once. Mark Evanier was doing his voice actor panel at San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm sandwiched in between Fred Tatasciore and Misty Lee. And we made a deal with each other before it started. We'll be underneath the table with our phones on each other's IMDb page. So when people are asked a question and we get this look on our face like, I don't know the answer, we're like, here's the show. Oh, thank you. So yeah, it's again, we don't know what we've done.
Yes.
And the fans know more about us than we do. God love you. Thank you.
We have another question from
this person here, Disney Animon. Who's your favorite character to voice?
Well, that's hard to ask, right? Like
Who's your favorite baby or favorite child?
Right.
The pig. I pig.
The pig is good. Yeah. How about let's
Melina says, I have no question. I'm just so glad to meet you, comrades Dino and Bob Bergen.
Yes.
Thank you, Melina.
This is Melina's photo here. We've got to bring this up, Dean. We want Bob to talk about this. Hold on.
Okay, buddy.
We're gonna have Bob talk about this.
He wants to talk about this real quick.
Okay.
Space Jam.
Remember this?
Of course. Yeah, sure.
That's little movie here.
Yeah, I do indeed.
Tell us how you got into that, how that came about.
Auditioning. Just lots of auditions. And I do think I did Porky, Tweety, and Marvin. I do think I was, other than June Foray, I think I was the only person who had voiced the Looney Tunes after Mel Blanc who got a part in that film. It was basically the discretion of the producer, Ivan Reitman, who was the voice director for the movie. I will be really honest. He was not the world's greatest voice director. I wish they had gone with like an Andrea Romano who knew and understood. I mean, she had worked with Mel Blanc and Dawes Butler. I mean, she should have directed that movie. But it was a blast. I had a great time working on it. It was surreal. When you work on a movie, you don't record it in sequence. When you do on camera or voiceover, you don't record it in sequence. I never had a full script. I only had the day's pages. I didn't even know what the story was. So I would just record voices. I've got about 16 hours of video of us recording that movie somewhere. I would have to have a train. But it was a highlight of my career. It was a blast. So
Is it harder to? This was, you know, you had Michael Jordan with people in it. Is it
yeah.
hard to work with cartoons and people, or is it kind
Well,
of?
no, because we record our stuff separately.
Well, it's all
So,
separate, right?
oh yeah, I never met anybody in the on-camera portion of the film. We're in one studio recording the voices, and they're in another studio filming the movie. And you record the voices first. They animate to you. So I think we started recording the voices well before they started filming the movie. And so no, our paths never crossed.
So like,
And
go ahead. Dave.
go ahead. Laura Shank says, I think because Ivan Reitman was used to on camera directing.
You know what? That's not necessarily true, because I've worked with a lot of on-camera directors who understood the animation process and the voice process. I don't think he knew these characters that well.
Oh, okay.
That was it. I don't think he understood or knew the characters that well. What I will say is, he was very available, at least for me. Oh, actually, Greg Burson was in it too. He had been doing the classic characters. He was available to me to say, "Can I try this my way? Can I try this a different way?" And a lot of what I did ended up on screen based on my choices, but much of it ended up on screen based on his choices. I'll tell you a technical aspect where he just didn't quite get it. Many of these characters are sped up electronically, including my Tweety. And there were scenes where all of the characters were talking in unison. And we did about a day and a half of recording, like locker room scenes, where the characters are talking in unison. Billy West, that's where I met Billy West as well. Billy West.
Yeah, Billy West is a nice guy.
Yeah. And I said, "Hey, Ivan, just out of curiosity, how are we going to isolate my voice to speed up Tweety when we're all talking on top of each other in the same scene?" And he said, "Oh, no, they can do that. They can do that in post-production." And the engineer pushes this little talkback button and says, "No, we can't." So we had to go back and re-record quite a bit of what we had done previously. But again, had it been an Andrea Romano or a Susan Blue or a Jenny McSwain who absolutely knew the process and these characters, they would have known before we ever, and we wasted a lot of money having to come back and redo some stuff. That's budget. So, you know, he also, I think, I forget who was responding about his on-camera experience. You might be right, because on camera, you're used to shooting something on Monday, and on Tuesday morning, you watch what's called the dailies, where you see how it looked. Well, there are no dailies in animation because it takes quite some time to animate and match the voices to the picture. So yeah, that might have been, I guess, a communication or technical gap for him. But anyway, it was fun. I had a blast doing it.
Awesome.
What at the premiere, do the voice actors go to the premiere with like Michael Jordan and all those? What do you remember that?
Well, you know, that's no. They didn't invite the voice actors to the premiere of Space Jam, and when my agent inquired, she heard from their publicity department that premieres are only for talent, and my agent was like, "What do you think the voices did?" And they ended up inviting Billy and Dee Bradley Baker, Bugs and Daffy, because they thought their characters were a little bit bigger than the other characters. Mm-hmm. And Dee's wife Michelle was nice enough to let me be Dee's plus one to go to the premiere with him. And I'd never been to a movie premiere, and when we had these passes and we're walking into the theater, it was at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood. And when they looked at our passes, they said, "Oh no, you guys are in the Overflow Theater down the street." So we didn't even get to see the movie with the rest of the celebrities and stars. We were down the street in a half-empty theater. So the answer to your question is sometimes. We're invited.
Sometimes.
Pixar was very good. And Disney. I went to the premieres of Up. I went to the premieres of the Santa Claus movies. I went to the premieres of Treasure Planet. I think Wall-E. But it just depends. It just depends.
What character did you do in Up? Do you remember?
I did dogs. I remember doing dogs.
He was
Okay.
doing the dogs.
Oh, okay.
You
I
know,
remember doing
the villain. The villain.
Those villain dogs.
Charles Mutz's dogs.
Charles Mutz's dogs.
again. I that one I did see because I was at the premiere, but I don't remember. Again, so you work on a movie. You spend a day. You do one thing, and you have no idea how it's going to fit into the finished thing. Oh, I do remember this. I was sitting with the rest of the cast, and I remember there was Lorraine Newman. She was on SNL. And I think Mona Marshall, I think Debbie Derryberry, I think Danny Mann, and we're all watching the movie, and we're like, where are the dogs? There should be dogs. Where are the dogs? Then eventually there were dogs, and all of a sudden we start applauding, and nobody else in the theater's applauding. There's no reason to applaud, nothing big, except because if you make it in the movie, you get residuals. And it's all about for to make a living at this, it's all about residuals. Right. So it's like, hey, we got residuals.
Nice.
But I have a question. Various voice actors do Looney Tunes, like Eric Bauza, Jeff Bergman, and Billy West, and many more. Is Eric Bauza or Jeff Bergman does the most Looney Tunes voices?
I don't know. I've never counted. I mean, Eric's very new to it, so it definitely wouldn't be Eric. Jeff started doing it well before I did.
Oh, okay.
And he was there on the Tiny Toons, but I think Jeff started doing it for some shorts and some TV specials well before Tiny Toons and after Tiny Toons. Jeff is amazing. One of the best voice actors on the planet, one of the nicest guys on the planet. Greg Burson. He passed away, but he was very active with Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes. Joe Lasky, probably.
Oh yeah, another great one.
Did more than Jeff did. There was a chunk of time where Joe was doing most of the Daffy stuff. But again, we don't have a contract, so it's the discretion of the producers as to who gets to do what. I remember, Joe did not get cast in Space Jam. And I remember talking to Ivan about it on the stage. Ivan didn't want to work with him. There was something about Joe that Ivan did not want to work with. Hey, it's the producer's discretion who they get to work with. So I wish we had a say in casting. They don't ask us. So my philosophy is when the phone rings, you're working on Tuesday on something. I'm like, yay, good. Yeah. So that's all we can do.
What was it like working on the Carrot Blanca parody of Casablanca? Because I know that's your favorite cartoon when you did Tweety, right?
One of my favorites, and only because I got to do Peter Lorre doing Tweety. So it's a direct parody to Casablanca. Porky was in it too, but they cut Porky, and there's a scene with Porky walking in with a fez just for a second. And Porky had a really cute scene in it. I liked the animation. It was a full orchestra, and it was an animated, a theatrical short. That was really cool. A Looney Tunes theatrical short. Kathleen Helpe was the producer, and she was the first head of Warner Brothers Animation when I started working there. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the best. She just loved quality. She headed. It was called Classic. Warner Classics, and it was to uphold the integrity of the classic animation and the classic look, the classic sound, the classic everything. And it's what Disney does. They really are sticklers for let's make this pure Disney. She was like, let's make this pure Warner Brothers. And when she left the studio, it became kind of piecemeal. It was flavor of the month. As actors, we don't have any say on the direction, the feel, the sound, the style. It's not our place to. If I'm not asked or told, here's what we're looking for this show. For instance, the Looney Tunes show, it was sort of like a sitcom.
Remember that show?
With the Looney Tunes characters. But it wasn't really, we weren't being Looney Tunes characters. We were doing what they wanted for that show. Where Looney Tunes cartoons for HBO Max was like Bob Clampett from the 40s. And I had never done Bob Clampett inspired Looney Tunes. That was just a hoot to do. But for the most part, you just go with the flow and just do what they want.
I remember a couple scenes when Porky first met his girlfriend Petunia Pig in the Looney Tunes show. Remember that? Remember that episode?
No, I don't remember that. I do not remember that.
Like you say, the fans know more than you do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But Warner Brothers, they were good at taking like real people and putting them in their car, like Clark Gable. You remember those? Or
Sure.
Edward G. Robinson.
Oh yeah. Character actors of the day, pop culture references, music of the day. That's what they did, and that's what we did too.
Mm-hmm.
But there were pop culture reference. People say to me, "What's hard about doing Looney Tunes today?" Well, Mel Blanc died in 1989. There was no internet. There was no social media. There were no Uber drivers, and so they've put us in situations that reflect today in the new cartoons. You got to keep the integrity of the character, but you got to play contemporary situations. So I don't have a Mel Blanc reference to using a cell phone. But you got to do it because that's what's happening today. And let's be honest, you guys. When we were kids watching cartoons, we didn't know the references to Clark Gable. We didn't know the references to Humphrey Bogart. We didn't know the references to Danny Kaye or the music of the day.
Yeah.
But we liked the cartoons because they were fun.
Right.
I also didn't understand the Cold War when I was watching Bullwinkle cartoons. I didn't understand that was a satire of the Cold War. I didn't even know there was a hot war. I just knew that the Moose and Squirrel were fun.
Right.
And I wonder what Mel Blanc would have thought of if he was alive in the 90s. What he would have thought of Animaniacs and Tiny Toons.
He would have liked them, I think.
I can't predict what he would have liked. I mean, there was Chuck Jones didn't like Space Jam. I think Chuck Jones didn't like Space Jam because he didn't work on it. He wasn't asked to work on it, to be really honest.
Okay.
I don't know what Mel Blanc would have thought. I know what Dawes Butler thought. I was studying with Dawes towards the end of his life, and he had done. I used to go to his workshop every Wednesday, and he had done a cartoon called The Good, the Bad, and Huckleberry Hound.
Remember that, Dad?
Yeah.
But he hated it because he said they're just a factory. There's no acting. There's no reacting. There's no thought. It's just get in, get out, say the lines, leave. And he felt it was insulting to him as an actor and to the process. He was used to the 1950s, 1960s with Don Messick doing, Yogi and Boo Boo and Quick Draw McGraw and Babalooey and etc. And he missed those days. June did too. June missed the ensemble acting. I mean, Jay Ward would record Rocky and Bullwinkle like a radio play, overlapping each other and just having the actors act. And then it became, well, everything's on tape now, so we can do 25 different takes. Then it became digital, and it became a stale process for a lot of these actors who started in live radio. And they're used to, you do it once. If you flub your lines, you keep going in front of an audience. So I think the veterans missed that. Look, I don't know what Mel Blanc thought of the TV specials in the mid to late 80s that Friz Freleng did, that Chuck Jones did. I know I didn't like them, but it wasn't their fault. It wasn't the director's fault. It was limited budgets. They didn't have a full orchestra.
That's you grew up with the classics like these guys did.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of, say, Pixar, like Toy Story?
Sure.
Are you a fan of that? Because it's not really drawings, right? It's not.
It's computer, Dad.
Well, because it's CGI.
No, computer.
Yeah, I mean, like Buzz and Woody, they're not drawn; they're computers, right?
But they start with drawings, and then they're enhanced by the computer.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was a computer thing. I didn't know.
No, you can't. You can't type in a character. You can type in. You can draw it, and then you type, and then you computer generate that finished product.
I didn't know that.
I'm a fan of 2D animation, which is what we're used to with Looney Tunes and the Flintstones. It's hand-drawn
Yeah,
animation.
yeah, Tubi, the free app that they're showing all the classic cartoons. Tubi, I like that. They're showing all the classic cartoons on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and same with MeTV Tunes. So I don't dislike CGI. I just kind of miss. I mean, Emperor's New Groove was one of the last hand-drawn animated features Disney did, and I thought it was one of the best. And didn't do well, but I thought it was one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
Is AI a problem with the voice acting community? I mean, or even acting community with this new AI technology? Is that a problem?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, but let's define what problem means. So SAG-AFTRA, which is the actors union, is insisting on AI protections and profit sharing in all of our contracts, which means if they take our older work and through AI generate new work, they have to come to us first and say, are you okay if we do this? If so, what will it cost to do this? And then we get applicable residuals depending on the platform it's on. So if they want to take a Looney Tunes, something I did, and make a commercial out of it, my agent negotiates them able to do it, and then I get a residual like any commercial. That's not the real threat that I see in AI with the voice actor. The real threat is the non-union community, where I think AI, it's going to start impacting a voice actor's work where it's easiest to do, which will be promos, audiobooks, audio description, straight narration. But for me, for my protection, I'm not going to worry about what I'm not going to worry about. Somebody asked me on one of these podcasts, what if Warner Brothers is able to take old Mel Blanc recordings and through AI generate all new scripts and new cartoons with him? And my answer is, who better than Mel Blanc to do these characters? If I were Warner Brothers able to do it, I'd do it too. And why should I worry about something that I have no control over? I'm not going to be concerned about that. I'm more worried about real people. I'm more worried about politicians and celebrities. I'm more worried about somebody running for mayor and through AI, somebody generates that they said something off color right before the election. And if something's up there for an hour and then realize that it's AI generated, the damage is done. As far as I'm concerned, that's a bigger threat than the entertainment industry.
Hey, somebody says here, hi Bob, Chuck McKibben here from New Jersey. I'll just add that Mel.
I'm going to stop you for a second. If you guys want to read a really good book on Mel Blanc, just Google Chuck's Mel Blanc book. Mel Blanc wrote an auto. Chuck, I may be off color here. I'm so sorry but Mel Blanc wrote an autobiography. Chuck's is true. Because Mel Blanc told the urban myths that he'd been telling for years, and Chuck's is not only accurate and true, he knew the man, he worked with the man, and it's a brilliant read. Okay, so, all right. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to say that.
Okay, he says, hi Bob, Chuck McKibben here from New Jersey. I'll just add that Mel hated Hanna-Barbera's crude animation. He told every student at his voice classes it was just a work after Warner Brothers ended his work for them. Great to see you here.
Good to see you, my friend. Also, I will say that, Mel Blanc didn't get rich doing those Warner Brothers cartoons. He probably made the bulk of his big, substantial income doing commercials. I mean, he would go from radio show to radio show, from radio show to cartoon. I believe, he got sole screen credit because he got that in lieu of a raise. You didn't get rich doing voices for cartoons back then, guys. There were no residuals on animated shorts back then.
Who has the question? I heard Disney. Who's that? I heard Disney's going back to 2D
Laura Shank says, I heard Disney is going back to 2D hand-drawn animation. Did you hear about that?
I heard rumors of Space Jam 2 6 months after Space Jam 1 came out, and it took 30 years. So I know I'll believe it when I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what did Melina say?
Melina said, I drew Mel Blanc, but I forgot to show you.
Okay, we'll have to
all right, we'll get that sometime.
Okay.
And let's see.
What else do we have here?
Let's see,
Let's see what we got.
I'm reading some
Right
more.
there, Bob's a treasure. Bob's a national treasure.
Thank
right?
you.
Bob's a national treasure, says Christina.
That's our friend from Ireland there.
Thanks,
So
Christina. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. What we got?
What else?
I'm gonna ask Bob here. What are you? Anything you're working on that that we could talk about that you got going? Any new
Stuff that I can talk about
project?
isn't under NDA. Well, I just signed on for 2 more years to be the promo voice for MeTV Tunes, which is exciting because I've been doing it for 2 years, and it's probably one of my most enjoyable jobs because I'm the guy who's talking about classic cartoons, and it's sort of like a kid in a candy store.
Uh-huh.
And the really cool part about that job is I get to find out what they're going to be broadcasting or premiering before the fans do. And so, I remember when they got Terry Toon Mighty Mouse cartoons, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
Terry Toon Mighty Mouse. And then they got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and there's a bunch of new ones coming up soon that I can't talk about, but that's really, really fun.
Bring up Chuck's comment.
And
Chuck says thanks.
Chuck says, thanks for the plug, Bob. True. Mel made $800 on an episode of Flintstones. Never rich.
But $800 in 1960 something was a lot more money today. What he didn't get were residuals for life, which is what we get. I'm getting residuals today. I got a residual this week on that first Spider-Man cartoon I did in the 80s. I didn't get a lot, but I got something. So people don't understand how the union works. Today, if you make $29,000 a year as an actor, you qualify for health benefits next year. Mm-hmm. There are times when an actor is less than $100 away from qualifying for health benefits. So those $1.75 checks, if you get 100 of those, and we do, oftentimes qualify you for benefits for your family and a pension when you're 65. So every little bit helps. Mel Blanc did not enjoy those kinds of residuals for the bulk of his career.
Well, could we ask a favor of you, Bob?
Okay.
I don't know if you know the story of, you worked at Warner Brothers, and I don't know if you know the story that the Warner Brothers started in Youngstown, Ohio. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Well, the Warner, I'm going to show you this card. I'm going to bring it up a little bit closer.
Okay.
But real quick. Warner Brothers this has got to be like
was that when they were like theater owners?
Yeah, they were like
they were.
Well, no, the story was they came to Youngstown in about 1907, something like this, before movies were around.
Right.
And Thomas Edison came out with the movie projector, and they came out with a film called The Great Train Robbery.
Right.
It was like a 12-minute film.
I know. I actually know it well.
Okay, so the Warner Brothers bought this projector from the Edison company, and they started showing the movie around Youngstown here.
Right.
And then toward wintertime, they couldn't show it because it was cold. They found a building in Newcastle. We're in Youngstown, which is kind of on the border of Pennsylvania and Ohio.
Okay.
So we're about 20 minutes from Newcastle. So they found a building in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, to show this movie. And the theater is still there.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
It turned into a museum.
It's a museum now.
It's a museum now with a historical marker. And they have the story of the Warner Brothers, how they started here in Youngstown and went to Newcastle. And eventually, as talkies came into being, they moved to California and built their empire out there.
Well, they did the first talkie. They did the jazz
singer. The jazz singer.
Yeah, but they were doing silent films before that.
Right. But they've got this theater in Newcastle. It's called the Historic Warner Cascade Theater and Museum. I'm going to show this to you.
Okay.
And they have a Looney Tunes section.
Okay.
And and Dino over the years has donated some of his autographs. Jim Cummings as Taz. He's a Warner Brothers. Rob Paulson, Animaniacs. Tom Luger's in there. Who else did we have?
Katsusi as Lola Bunny.
Lola Bunny.
Cool.
And we'd be honored if we could get you as Porky,
in the
if we could get a autograph from you, maybe if you could send a autograph and we'll donate it to the Warner
Sure.
Theater and they will put it in there
Happy
for
to.
you.
Email me where to send it.
Yes,
Well-
I will.
Oh, let me get this a little closer so you can see it.
Okay.
It's called.
okay.
Maybe you could write it down, and then you could Google it yourself and get a little bit of history on it. It's
If you can see it right there. Can you see it right there?
Oh yeah, very cool. Yep.
It's called the Warner
Can you see it right there?
Perfect.
Cascade Theater.
No, it's
and
called Historic Warner
Historic.
Cascade Theater Museum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'll email you later, Bob Bergen, about that.
Okay.
And matter of fact, speaking of Youngstown, Jim Cummings was born in Youngstown.
Oh, is that right?
If you knew that too, he was born here as what's his name? Winnie the Pooh and
Tigger and
all that.
Taz. Darkwing Duck.
All right. Well, Bob, we're getting to the end of our. They're only giving us an hour here.
That's fine.
But we want to thank you for giving us your time and all your knowledge and all your great stories about your career.
Sure. My pleasure.
Real quick, I don't know. I know it's not Christmas time, but did you heard Porky sing "Blue Christmas"? Have you ever heard?
That's
Porky?
my friend Denny Brownlee.
Can you give us a little bit of "Blue Christmas"?
That wasn't me. I didn't do it. That
Yeah,
wasn't
but
me.
I knew, but I know it wasn't you. But you do Porky, and I want to hear a little Porky.
I'll have a the blue Christmas.
Without you, right? That was him
Yeah.
singing that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Marvin the Martian and all those guys. But hey, we want to thank you for just giving us your time and all your
My
great
pleasure.
stories and all your. You've just been a very nice guy, and
When do you want me to email him, buddy?
well, we'll take care of that too. And
Okay.
we want to thank all our Facebook friends, Christina, Laura,
Haley.
Haley,
Well,
and Melina for the beautiful. We're gonna
Thank
get
you for the
this out-
picture, Melina.
We're gonna get this out to you.
yeah.
And we want to thank BJ, who's our producer here at Youngstown Studio,
Thank you, BJ.
for helping us out here. And Dino, you got anything to say to Bob here?
I appreciate you coming on our podcast show, and we had a good time.
I had a good time too, guys.
Can we get a "that's all, folks" before we get out of here? What do you think, Dean?
Yes.
We'll have Bob do
You
it.
mean from me?
Oh, yeah. Well, not from me. I can't do it. I mean,
Okay. All right.
That's all.
That was
awesome.
excellent, buddy.
Okay, but thank you. Hey,
Thank you, Bob.
plus, how did we do? We're new at this. How did we do? What do you give us as a grade?
You're doing great, guys. You're fun. You're making a conversation, and that's all I like. You know,
All
when we
right,
do
well-
these things, I like conversation. So this was perfect.
All right. It's Porky.
That's
That's
Hampton.
Hampton.
Oh, yeah.
That's Hampton.
We got to show you Dino's jacket here before you go. Look at this.
This is my Tiny Toons jacket.
That's cool. That's very cool.
He wears this all the time.
I wear it all the
There's
time.
Hampton on the side there, right?
Hampton on the side
All
there.
right.
That's very cool. Was that like a cast and crew jacket?
I think
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, it says Looney Tunes on it.
Those are rare. Those are hard to get. I've got a couple of. I got a Space Jam one.
Ooh.
I've got one just classic Warner Brothers classic animation. But I'll tell you, every time I get a cast and crew jacket, the show gets canceled. So I kind of never want them.
All right. Well, we wish you good luck, you and your family.
Thanks, guys.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy whatever day, but thanks for all your help.
Happy day. All right, guys.
Okay.
I'll talk to you soon, Bob.
You
Bye
got
bye.
it.
Bye,
Thanks,
Bob. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook.